you are now eligible for 200%, not up to, for 200%. All right, today we're going to talk about bumping and oversales. But right now, I want to concentrate on oversales. So, oversales happens when an airline sells more tickets than they have seats. For example, simple math, let's say a particular airline on a particular plane has only 10 seats. What they will do then is sell 20 tickets. The reason why they do that is to compensate for any no-shows that may occur. Now, before you get upset, not all airlines partake in this practice. Some do, some don't. Now, when they do get it right, it's beautiful. But when they don't, you run into a situation called bumping. Now, some people look at bumping as a blessing. Some people look at bumping as a curse. But either way, there's two ways that you get bumped. Voluntarily and involuntarily. When it comes to voluntarily giving up your seat, aka voluntarily being bumped, there's some things that you want to take into consideration. So, according to the Department of Transportation, if an airline offers a reduced rate ticket, free ticket, or voucher to the passenger in exchange for volunteering to fly on a different flight, the airline must tell passengers about any and all restrictions that may apply to the use of the reduced rate ticket, free ticket, or voucher before passengers decide whether or not to give up their confirmed reserved space on the currently oversold flight. So they have to tell you the restriction. So, perfect example, when I got bumped from a flight, they let me know that I have a year to use this voucher, along with there were certain dates that I couldn't fly. So any kind of restriction, they have to tell you what they are. If you decide to give back your seat to the airline in exchange for compensation and a later flight, you might want to get answers to these 4 important questions. First, when is the next flight on which the airline can confirm your seat? Will the airline provide other amenities such as free meals, a hotel room, transfers between the hotel and the airport, and the phone card? How long is a ticket or voucher good for? Is a ticket or voucher unusable during holiday periods when you might want to use it? And can it be used for international flights? These 4 questions are very important to ask. Next, we're going to talk about involuntarily bumping. Denied boarding, whichever you want to call it. The involuntary side of giving up your seat. Now, when this happens, this usually happens when the airline asked for volunteers and there weren't enough volunteers. Now people will start to get bumped. However, it's not really just a draw the hat. Airlines have a policy that they follow that determines who gets bumped first. So, according to the DOT website, if there are not enough passengers who are willing to give up their seats voluntarily, an airline may deny you a seat on an aircraft based on criteria that it establishes, such as passengers' check-in, time, the fare paid by the passenger, or the passenger's frequent flyer status. Now, you could actually find this on certain airline web pages. I know I've seen it on Spirit. I believe I've seen it on Delta. Not too sure. I know I've seen on Spirit. So, however, the criteria cannot subject a passenger to any unjust or unreasonable prejudice or disadvantage. For example, an airline could not lawfully use a passenger's race or ethnicity as a criterion. So they can't pull the race card on you or ethnicity to remove you from the plane. Do airlines have to tell me my rights when I'm involuntarily bumped? Yes. DOT requires airlines to give all passengers who are bumped involuntarily a written statement describing their rights and explaining how the carrier decides to get bumped. Can airlines involuntarily bump me after I have boarded the flight? Generally, no. If you have met the following conditions, airlines are not allowed to deny you permission to board or remove you from the flight if you have already boarded the flight. You have checked in for your flight before the check-in deadline set by the airlines, and a gate agent has accepted your paper boarding pass or electronically scanned your boarding pass and let you know that you may proceed to board. Now, however, airlines may deny boarding or remove you from a flight even after accepting your boarding pass and informing you that you may proceed to board if the denial or removal is due to a safety, security, or health risk, or due to behavior that is considered obscene, disruptive, or otherwise unlawful. Now, to elaborate more on that, when it comes to safety, security, health risk, may it be you were fighting at the gate before you got on, or when you were on, actually. When you fought while you were on the plane, you acted suspiciously for security, you acted suspiciously while you were on the plane, and somebody called it out. Could be an air marshal that called it out. Or health risk. You got on, and then all of a sudden, you just coughing, or you just showing signs of something contagious. Those are the times usually when you're on the plane. Oh, and you just cussing people out. Forgot to add that. You also cussing people out just for no reason. Those are times that you could be on the plane, everything was good, but they're like, yeah, no, you're not about to make this a pleasant flight. Another question you may have is, are airlines required to pay me money when I'm involuntarily bumped? It depends. An airline is required to compensate you after involuntarily bumping you from an oversold flight in certain situations. However, there are many situations where you are not entitled to compensation. Now, as you can see on the DOT website, they have them written down. However, I covered that in detail in another video, which I will put the link in the description below. But at the end of the video, I'll have a link so you can just click on it when you get to the end of this video. All right, so now let's say you are entitled to compensation. Now, this is the part I know everybody is waiting for. The money. The money, money, money. So, as far as domestic flights, when you have a 0 to a 1 hour delay, you get no compensation. So 0 to 1 hour is pretty straightforward. But I like to be petty when it comes to policies. I'm a black and white type of person. So just so you have no wiggle room, so there's no room for discussion, debate, none of that. If you're supposed to arrive at your destination at noon, but your flight is delayed, but you get there by 12:59, you're not going to get compensated. I'm even going to go so far as to say if you get there by 1 p.m., there is no compensation. Now, remember, these are all domestic. So when we get to 1 to a 2 hour delay, you get 200% of your one-way fare. Meaning, if it is, let's say you're going from Tampa to LAX, and you know, when you pay for a round trip flight, you buy in a segment. So you'll buy from Tampa to LAX and then LAX back to Tampa. So let's say for Tampa, it was $100. From Tampa to LAX is $100. From LAX to Tampa is $200. So we're going to concentrate on the Tampa to LAX. That's $100. Now, since it's going to be that hour to 2 hour delay, you are now eligible for 200%, not up to, for 200% of that fare from Tampa to LAX. So if it was $100, you are now going to get $300. So, but the airline will limit the compensation up to $775. So you can't get more than $775 for that. Now, as far as the time frame goes, for 1 to 2 hours, if you're supposed to arrive at noon, but now you land at 1:01 to 2 p.m., that is the 1 to 2 hour window. So now, for the over 2 hour arrival delay, you get a 400% compensation. So, going back to the Tampa LAX example, if you paid $100, you are now eligible for $500. Not up to, straight $500. If that fare was $100. Now the limit for the airlines on that is $1,550, $1,550. If it's gonna be more than that, that's the max you're gonna get. So for the 2 hour delay, time wise, it's supposed to land at noon, but you land at 2:01 p.m. and beyond. We're not gonna say 2 p.m. We're gonna say 2:01 p.m. and beyond. That exact 2 hours is too much of a wiggle room. Nah, we're gonna hit it with a straight technicality. 2:01, that is 2 hours. Boom, 400%. Give me my money. Now, when it comes to the international, it kind of works more so in the airline's favor than it does for the passenger. So the same rules apply for 0 to 1 hour delay, no compensation. Now, this is where it changes drastically. To get 200% of your one-way fare, it has to be an hour to 4 hour arrival delay. 4 hours, not 2 like in domestic, 4 for international. So it'll take you 4 hours at the max to get you 200%. So you have to wait until that delay hits all the way up to 4 p.m., 4:01 p.m., compared to just 2 p.m. Right? Now, for the 400%, has to be over 4 hours. Domestic was only 2 hours, over 2 hours. For international, it's over 4 hours. That means that whole $500 example, you have to land after 4:01 p.m. if you're supposed to originally land at noon. So yeah, international works more for the airlines, but domestic works more for passengers. Now, even though I said that, for the 200% it's limited to $775, and for the 400% it's limited to $1,550. Yeah, that's the limit they will propose, or they will impose, shall I say. However, there really is no limit. If they really, really want to compensate, they could compensate as much as they want. So, just to keep that in mind. All right. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was very informative for you. So the next time you're sitting in the airport and you hear over the loudspeaker, we're looking for volunteers, or your flight has been delayed, you're no longer stressed. You can just relax, kick back, because you have the knowledge that a lot of people don't have. Well, as promised, go ahead and click that link above to show you how you can get the refunds on why you can and cannot be compensated, and enjoy the rest of your day. Until next time.